Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Due to the difficulties of Warriors in winning consecutive games and having a solid score, there are strong comments that the ideal player for the Warriors at this moment will be Cameron Johnson. Warriors owner Joe Lacob said he will sign new players so that the Warriors can compete for championships again. "We've been up and down this year, but we like the group, we like the people we have, and we really want to see how we play over the next month and then just keep our options open," Kerr said recently. "We're not in a position to say, hey, we're good enough. Let's just stand firm. We have to assess all the options. For me, it's let's see what we can do in these next few weeks, and hopefully we settle into this rotation, start shooting the ball better." While the Warriors recently acquired Dennis Schroeder to bolster their depth, they're still chasing consistency in a tightly contested Western Conference. Sitting just 2.5 games behind the fourth-seeded Denver Nuggets, Golden State is balancing the need for immediate improvement with long-term planning. Butler might have been a tempting option, but a new name has surfaced as a more sustainable and realistic target: Cam Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets. Cam Johnson is a perfect fit for Golden State. Cam Johnson has quietly emerged as a potential trade target due to Brooklyn's ongoing rebuild. At 28 years old, Johnson is in his prime, a timeline that doesn't align with the Nets' plans to build from the ground up. His skill set, however, could be a seamless fit for the Warriors, particularly given his breakout 2024-25 season. Johnson is currently averaging career highs across the board with 19.5 points per game on 49.6% shooting from the field and an elite 43.6% from three-point range. His efficiency as a scorer and his ability to stretch the floor would be invaluable for a Warriors team that thrives on ball movement and spacing. More importantly, Johnson represents a bridge between eras for Golden State. With the inevitable conclusion of the Steph Curry and Draymond Green era on the horizon, Johnson's age and production make him an ideal candidate to help ease the transition into the team's next chapter. One scenario that makes sense for both the Warriors and Nets is a trade centered around Jonathan Kuminga. The 21-year-old forward has shown flashes of potential but hasn't yet carved out a consistent role in Kerr's rotation. With Kuminga recently sidelined for the next 3 weeks due to injury, this could be the perfect opportunity for Golden State to move him in exchange for Johnson, who would provide an immediate impact. For Brooklyn, Kuminga represents a young asset who aligns with their rebuilding timeline. His athleticism and defensive potential would be a welcome addition to a team that's focused on developing a young core for the future. For the Warriors, acquiring Johnson would give them a dependable two-way player who can thrive in their system. His ability to knock down open shots, defend multiple positions, and play off Curry could elevate Golden State's ceiling, especially as they navigate the latter half of the season. As the trade deadline approaches, the Warriors have some tough decisions to make. While the franchise has been hesitant to make significant changes mid-season, the opportunity to add a player like Cam Johnson could be too good to pass up. Untimely injury could drastically shift Warriors' trade plans. The Golden State Warriors got an important 121-113 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies at Chase Center on Saturday night, but it wasn't all positive for the franchise, who experienced a concerning ankle injury for Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga left the game late in the second quarter after an awkward fall on the defensive end, putting an end to what was a promising start that had already yielded 13 first-half points. The young forward is expected to see a stint on the sidelines, having left the game on crutches, while Steve Kerr labeled the ankle sprain as significant. Jonathan Kuminga's injury will have wide-ranging implications for the Warriors. First and foremost, the injury comes at an incredibly disappointing time for Kuminga, who was just starting to blossom into a star thanks to consistent opportunity over recent weeks. The 22-year-old had led the Warriors in scoring over the previous 6 games, averaging 24.3 points, 8.0 rebounds, and 3.2 assists on over 52% shooting from the floor. Kuminga's recent impressive performances had also revived question marks on his future, with The Athletic reporting on Saturday that the former 7th overall pick shouldn't be considered untouchable as the deadline approaches. While a multi-week injury wouldn't completely erase the chances of Kuminga being traded in the next month, teams would undoubtedly be more cautious in trying to acquire an injured player. But perhaps more so than Kuminga's own future, his injury could drastically shift the front office's plans with other players on the roster. Kyle Anderson will clearly be the biggest beneficiary of the Kuminga injury from a playing standpoint, having played nearly 22 minutes on Saturday that included over 10 in the fourth quarter alone. The veteran forward's versatile impact was on display, with Anderson recording 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal and 2 blocks in the 8-point win. The 31-year-old had seen 5 DNPs in the previous 9 games, and hadn't seen 20 minutes in a game since November 10 in Oklahoma City. Despite having only signed a 3-year, $27 million contract during free agency, Anderson's place out of the rotation was making him appear like a prime trade candidate for the Warriors ahead of the February 6 deadline. Now, in the wake of Kuminga's injury, Anderson is needed more than ever. "I'm just glad we have the depth that we do. I'm glad we have Kyle, there's a reason we signed him," Steve Kerr said during his post-game press conference. Anderson's $8.8 million contract could still be helpful in a trade, but it's much harder to trade a veteran who's needed for 20 minutes per game than one who's out of the rotation completely. The Athletic also reported on Saturday that the Warriors have interest in Chicago Bulls center Nikola Vucevic, with the mid-tier salaries of Anderson, Gary Payton II and/or Kevin Looney potentially crucial in a deal for the 2X All-Star. Jonathan Kuminga opens up on Warriors' future amid injury. Jonathan Kuminga has never been so sure about his future with the Golden State Warriors, despite his injury and the trade rumors linking him to the Miami Heat for 6-time NBA All-Star Jimmy Butler. "I feel good," Kuminga said, per The Athletic's Anthony Slater. "You never know what's going to happen, but I'm pretty confident this is where I'm at." Kuminga's confidence comes from playing the best stretch of his young career. Not even a significant ankle sprain that will sideline him for the next 3 weeks could shatter it. The fourth-year forward has scored in double digits in 17 straight games, including 8 20-plus point scoring. He had 3 games in which he scored more than 30 points, including a back-to-back career-high 34 last week. He was on pace for another big scoring night with 13 points in just 15 minutes when the ill-timed injury occurred in the second quarter of the Warriors' 121-113 win over the Memphis Grizzlies on January 4. With 2:27 left in the first half, tragedy struck the Warriors as Kuminga landed on Jake LaRavia's foot after his shot block attempt. "Brutal," Kerr told reporters before the Warriors suffered an embarrassing 129-99 home loss to the Sacramento Kings on January 5. "JK's been playing so well and obviously is such a big part of what we're doing. He's our most athletic scorer, finisher, and he's been playing so well. It's a tough one." Kuminga earned Kerr's trust by improving his shot diet, shooting less mid-range and driving more to the rim, and becoming more aggressive on defense. Over his last 17 games, Kuminga averaged 19.8 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, while shooting 46.7% from the field and 37.3% from the three-point line. He's now the Warriors' second leading scorer, averaging 16.8 points per game, behind Stephen Curry, 22.5 points. "Just the confidence and the trust coming from my teammates," from Steve himself, "just having that trust and confidence," Kuminga said of his breakout. Kuminga said his long talks with Kerr and the coaching staff about basketball and the film sessions have helped him understand the game better.